Hey guys, welcome to Initiate Scientia, where science meets you. If you're new to this channel, then do press the subscribe button and also press the bell icon. This is the Java series. Hi everyone. Before continuing with Java, let's understand what is object oriented programming. Java is basically an object oriented programming language, and we have to know the difference between procedural and object oriented programming. Procedural oriented programming. It is a programming model which is derived from structured programming based on the concept of calling procedures of functions. Object oriented programming is a programming model which is based on the concept of objects. Now, procedural oriented programming follows top down approach. Object oriented programming follows bottom up approach. Procedural oriented programming. Here, there are no access specifiers used. In object oriented programming, access specifiers such as private, public, protected are used. Procedural oriented programming is less secure, whereas object oriented programming is more secure. Procedural oriented programming is based on unreal world, whereas object oriented programming is based on real world. Procedural oriented programming. Here, code reusability is absent. Object oriented programming. Here, code reusability is present. Procedural oriented programming uses concept of procedure abstraction. Object oriented programming uses concepts of data abstraction. Examples of procedural oriented programming are C, Fortran, Pascal, Basic. Examples of object oriented programming are C++, Java, and Python. Let's see in brief about OOP or object oriented programming. Object oriented programming is the language that uses objects. OOP implements real world objects. Every program has two elements, the code and the data. Main aim of OOP is to bind data and the code together, where no other part of code can use the data. The OOPS concepts are class, objects, OOPS principles, dynamic binding, message passing. OOPS principle is important, and we have abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, and polymorphism. Next, moving on to class. Class. It is a blueprint for an object. It's a user defined data type. It has data members and data functions. It has set of properties associated to objects of one type. Example, class can be that of cars, which has different brands or types. Set of properties can be the number of wheels, mileage, or the gear type. Object. Instance of a class. It is the basic unit of object oriented programming. These represent real world entities. When objects are created, memory is allocated, but not for class creation. When objects are created, memory is allocated but not for class creation. Okay. Object has identity, state, and behavior. Example of an object can be a dog, which has identity as name, state as breed, age, or color, and behavior as barking, sleeping, or eating. Moving on to object oriented programming principle, OOPS principles. Encapsulation. It is a process or mechanism of binding code and data to make it more secure to avoid outside intervention. Object is created when code and data are binded. Object is the device for encapsulation. Object has code and data which can be either public or private. Abstraction. Providing only essential information about data to outside world and hiding its working or implementation. Example, while using a car, the driver knows that pressing accelerators increase speed, or pressing brakes halts the car, but he doesn't know about the working or the inner working mechanism of the car. Polymorphism. It means that it has many forms. One interface, many methods. Example, interface can be that of a stack, and the methods can be the push or pop that we would have seen in data structures. Interface can be a furnace where its methods can be electric or gas. Polymorphism has types: compile time, runtime, function overloading, operator overloading comes under compile time, virtual functions come under runtime. Inheritance. Deriving the properties of one object from the other object is called inheritance. There is base object and the derived object. Next, moving on to dynamic binding. The code associated with given procedure call is not known until the time of call at runtime. Advantages of dynamic binding is no information remains available before runtime. The code to be executed in response to the function call is decided at runtime. Next, moving on to message passing. It is a form of communication. Objects communicate with one another by sending and receiving information to each other. It involves specifying object name, function name, and information to be sent. In the next video, let's see what a sample Java program looks like and let's discuss more about it. More detailed written videos are coming in the Java series, upright from the next video similar to the data structures playlist. So keep watching. Hit the subscribe button and also press the bell icon to get instant updates of the video that we post.